You can imagine yourself somewhere in Europe, in a very cold place, having a cup of tea, having a nice scone. Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you the easiest way to make scones. Now this recipe is so simple, you won't believe it. All you need is French cream, some self-rising flour, and salt, and optional bak kwa. How many times have you all gone for a high tea and when they serve the scones, you look at it and go, oh, this is not going to be nice and fluffy. You know, to me, scones are supposed to be nice, warm and fluffy, and when you break it out, the steam all comes out. And then when you put your cream and jam on it, it's supposed to just melt in your mouth and have that nice creamy aroma. So I'm going to show you how easy it is for you to make scones at home. And it's going to take you less than an hour, in fact, less than 30 minutes. I've already measured out the self-rising flour and I've got the cream. The next thing we're going to do is to chop up the bak kwa. I'm just going to dice it into small little cubes. If you don't want to use bak kwa, you can always use the more traditional raisins or some sort of dried fruit. It will all work quite well. But I find that bak kwa actually gives it a nice savoury, sweet flavour which makes it quite different. Okay, I've got the bak kwa all diced up. Now I'm going to warm up the fresh cream in the microwave for 45 seconds so that it comes to about body temperature, which is about 37 degrees to about 40 degrees. What we do next is to put in the salt and the bak kwa goes in. We're just going to sort of mix it all up so that it's evenly dispersed in the flour. And now the fresh cream goes in. Now when you're using cream, talk to a lot of pastry chefs and a lot of them will tell you that they'll reach for the French cream because of how reliable it is. It's got good flavor. The French have been making cream for centuries, and of course they are very famous for their milk as well. So the cows and the milk that comes from France, very nice and flavorful. The cream has got a nice body, it's got a light flavor that everybody likes. We're going to mix this until there's no more dry flour. Okay, almost there. This method is so much easier than the more traditional method where you have to put the butter in the fridge, make sure everything is ice cold. It gives you good results as well. When I found out about this method from the America's Test Kitchen, I was wondering to myself, really? Would it really work? So I tried it out, modified the recipe a little bit, and I'm very happy with the results. So I hope you'll try it at home and then let me know. You can see that all the flour is now sort of just incorporated. Okay, we're going to put it out onto the cutting board like this. You just roughly put everything together. Now instead of using a rolling pin, I found this method is easier. And just by pushing it down, everything is quite even. And now I'm just going to use a cookie cutter to cut it. And place it. After this, all you need to do is to bake it 10 to 12 minutes in the oven, and we can have afternoon tea. Okay, one more point you need to note is when you're cutting this, you push it straight down and then you twist. Okay, and then the sides will come out nice. We preheated the oven to 180 degrees. And now it's time to bake the scones. When you place it onto the baking tray, just overturn it because the bottom is nice and flat and the results will be nicer. Just flip it over so that the bottom becomes the top. Okay, we're just going to glaze it now with a little bit of egg yolk and milk. So I'm just using egg yolk with 1 tablespoon of milk. This will give it a nice golden color. You don't want it to be so brown. You can use a little bit of butter. Make sure when you glaze, don't glaze the sides. Alright, so you just want the glaze to be on top, because if the yolk runs down the sides, it will affect the rise of the scones. If there's yolk on one side, it will prevent the scones from rising, and so then it will become the leaning tower of Pisa. So you just want to glaze the top of your scones. Now you set your oven at 180, 10 minutes first, and then you observe because every oven is different. So at 10 minutes, it might take 12, it might take 13 or 14 minutes. You just have to look at the scones and make sure you don't overcook them. Okay, 12 minutes and my scones are done. I don't want to overcook them because I want them to be still nice and very fluffy and tender in the middle. Okay, while we are waiting for it to cool, right, and we're getting our tea ready, I'm gonna just make some nice whipped cream for it. So what you need is icing sugar. This is powdered icing sugar. 200 ml cream. Icing sugar goes into the cream. Blender goes in. So you want to incorporate lots of air into the cream. And you want to have a cream that's like lots of fat, 35%, which is what the French cream is usually. If it's your first time whipping cream, right, you would be thinking, "Aya, how come it's taking so long? How come it's not thickening, right?" But let me tell you, once it starts to thicken, it's very fast. After about a minute of whipping, within 10 seconds, it will go from nicely whipped to over whipped. Just need to make sure your cream is really cold when you start whipping it. I'm gonna taste some of the cream from here. Nice, so light. You can taste the sweet, very flavorful, very full-bodied texture that is characteristic of French cream. So I'm just gonna take this cream, beautiful whipped cream, nice fluffy scones, set it up with a nice pot of tea. Maybe if you want, you can still put in jam or kaya and then top it with the whipped cream. Beautiful. So you see how nice and tender it is. And you open it up, oh, nice and fluffy. Get the cream on top. Now, cream is 60% water and 35% fat. And after you whip it up, right? So you imagine the amount of fat that's actually in here is actually very little because it's already double or triple in size and it's 60% of it is water. And the bakwa just gives it a little bit of savoury sweetness inside the scones as well as on top of the scones. Give you the nice milky flavour. You can imagine yourself somewhere in Europe in a very cold place having a cup of tea, having a nice scone. So I hope you enjoyed this very easy bakwa scone recipe. As you can see, it's so easy to do, it's so nice to eat. And the next time you're thinking of afternoon tea, just go and grab a pack of French cream and get some flour and just make yourself some scones. Until next time, happy cooking!